Hello again. I'm back. I'm going to voice this over so you don't have to listen to the obnoxious blow dryer, but I'm just showing you that I'm drying what I've painted so far, the boot part, with a blow dryer so that I can paint the cat without them running together in case I, goof up and put paint where I don't want to, which is pretty much all the time. So I'm pretty clueless on this software, so just kind of bear with me. Anyway, once this is dry, I've already traced the main markings on the cat, and I did that by printing it out and then taping it to my paper and using transfer paper and a ballpoint pen. I usually just put the darkest markings on there, and then I can kind of see where I am from now. You can see where the ears are up there on top. So, and it looks like I kind of made some bumps along the edge there, so I'm taking a scrubber brush. It's just, a generic cheap scrubber brush, kind of smoothing out the edges. Okay, now I'm going to do wet pretty much the whole area of the cat face, except I'm going to leave the nose dry. And this is the part where you have to be fairly careful where you put the water, because the paint will spread where the water is, and it won't spread where the water isn't. So I want the nose another color. I want it to be pink and not, the same browns that I'm using. Gotta love my hair getting in there in the picture, because I tend to look close up because I have bifocals. And I kind of got outside of where I wanted to be, so I took a Kleenex and dabbed it up a little. So once the whole face and ears of the cat are wet, and it's wet where I want it to be wet and not where I don't want it to be, I will use my brush. It looks like I'm using a number 4 Daidayu squirrel sable brush. It doesn't matter, it's just a fairly small round. Sizes aren't standard from brand to brand, so it just, use what you have. I prefer the natural hair because they hold a lot more water. Okay, and now I'm going to get I'm using sepia and some lamp black mixed a little, and I'm just going over where the dark markings are on the cat's forehead. And when the water's wet, the paint will just kind of spread out, and the paint will do the job of making it look fluffy and look like fur. I'm just kind of going around the ears a little bit just to define them. And then there's usually kind of an M marking on the foreheads of a cat. So this doesn't quite look like an M. I'll probably fix it to look more like the painting in a bit. The eyes are there's dark markings around the eyes, so I'm going around there. Some of the markings up around the ears. And just don't worry about it if you overdo things or you get paint where you don't. There are ways to fix that. And I'll be doing that in the next video. I'll be fixing some mistakes and scrubbing the fur a little bit to make it look fluffier. So I'm doing another layer of the dark color, the sepia and black, over the initial ones, kind of in the middle, to define those more. Gotta love the hair. Normally I wouldn't wet around the eyes or inside of the eyes, but since the eyes are closed, don't need to worry about that. Sorry about the voice. I think we were all yelling too much at the Vikings game today. It was kind of exciting, and maybe I wore out my voice a little. So I'm just adding a little color inside, you know, around the eyes, where the eyes are. And I'll scrub that out a little bit later and add some of the lighter color. I know I'm doing everything backwards from how I'm supposed to work, but I do like putting in the dark fur at first, because then I can see what I'm doing. And that's the paw. I'm not going to define too much around the paw. Okay, I'm picking up some carmine pink and maybe Indian red. The two pinky reddy colors I'm using for the inside of the ears, and also for the nose, which actually that's around the nose. I think the nose is still dry, so I'm not doing that yet. Okay, and now I'm doing the nose. First layer with carmine pink. That's a small detail brush. I got too much, so I kind of mopped it up. Now I'm adding some Indian red. Just kind of make it a little more orange. I kind of like having a bright pink nose because I think it gives it a little character. There's my messy, spiky hair again. I just got a haircut. I pay good money to have my hair do that, I'll have you know. Okay, going around that left eye again. I kind of overdid the color in there, but we'll fix that in the next video. Doing some of the dark markings around the nose. Sometimes I just reach in there with my fingers and smudge up the paint a little when I, don't feel like reaching for a tissue. So now if anyone thinks this looks easy, it's because it is. I spent the first 4 years of watercolor learning not to make it harder than it really is, because that's the tendency for people, is to just want to overcomplicate everything. Of course, I can't draw at all. I'm not good at drawing. I mean, I've learned to draw just by drawing in the last few years. So when I'm doing a portrait, I usually transfer the main markings from I can print out up to 13 by 19, I believe my printer is that big. So if I want to make a big portrait, I just print it out and tape it to my paper and then transfer the main markings, because I don't trust myself to really get the facial features. I mean, some people can draw really well. Since I do some commissions here and there, I want it to really look like the person's pet that I'm painting. So, some people will say that's cheating and you have to draw it yourself, and nope, I'm not buying that one. So I'm taking a scrubber brush. This is let's see, it's a Princeton Select number 2 Fix-It brush, and that's kind of what they do. And once the paint is down and dries a little, you can scrub it out, and that's how it gets to look fluffy. And I'll show you another trick in the next video, and that's using magic eraser, which is really the ultimate at making things look fuzzy and fluffy. And also completely lifting off mistakes. So, just don't worry about it if you screw it up. Like, A, it's only a piece of paper, and B, a lot of time you can fix it. So my goal here is just to get the main colors and the main outlines on. I do lots of scrubbing and I do a lot of weird backward dry brush painting using the scrubber brush, where I just kind of push it along and it makes these nice little hairs. So there we go. We're coming to the end of this video, and I'll see you in the next one when I, lighten some areas and maybe darken the boot in places and pull off that piece of masking tape and finish the label. But there's really not a lot left to do. I mean, it already looks pretty cute, I think. I mean, it's recognizable as a cat in a boot. It's all about the story it tells, as my first watercolor teacher would always say. It's about the story. So I think you can see the story pretty well so far. Also, I have no idea how that cat got in that boot.